welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how I made this really simple trellis. However, it actually does have a cool ability that you can extend it to how long you want it, or actually just make it a little bit shorter. Depending on your needs, it's actually very simple to add additional wing to it. So check out the video. Now this option is actually very adjustable, okay? We are making panels, okay? You can make as many panels as you want and they're more or less 1 meter wide. However, it's up to you how wide do you want them to be. First of all though, we need to get our timber to the correct size. Now I'm using pressure treated timber, which is perfect for this scenario, and hopefully it will last a little bit longer. However, I'm going to be using a sealer as well later on, and it's actually in color black, which is corresponding to the aesthetics I've got in my garden. Now I've got these beams that are 4.5 centimeters by 4.5 centimeters and they're 1.8 meters long. All depends what you've got available in your local DIY store. However, that's what I'm going with, and the dimensions of my trellis is dictated a little bit by the size of these beams. In my case, I'm going for 2 sections, so in total the width of the whole trellis will be just under 2 meters wide. And as I mentioned before, the timber is 1.8 meters high, and that's the total height of my trellis. Therefore, 3 pieces I can put to one side, as I'm going to use the whole length of them. The remaining pieces I'm going to be cutting to 88 centimeters long. In my case, in total, I'm going to need 6 of them. As you can see, I'm using my miter saw to do all the cuts. However, you can just use a hand saw or a circular saw or anything else you've got. However, for me, this is the quickest way to tackle this task. On top of it, I've set up a stop block just to make sure all the pieces are exactly the same size. Plus, it speeds up the process even more. So now we need to pre-drill some holes for the hardware. Hardware that will allow us to actually extend the trellis or reduce the size of the trellis to your desired size. And to be absolutely honest with you, for the winter time, I'm actually going to take everything apart. And this hardware will allow me to do that very easily. Okay, you've got 2 options here. This one is a hex drive head nut, all right? And this one is a T-nut. Up to you which one you're going to use. Both are absolutely fine for this project, and I'm going to leave some links to these down below in the description of this video. Now, to speed the process up a little bit, the offcut I've got here, I've marked the center of it, and I'm going to use a 3mm drill to drill through it. Now, with the help of this block and a marking pin, I can accurately mark up the middle of each single beam. And in that way, I can quickly and easily establish where I need to drill. Now we need to pre-drill the horizontal pieces from both ends. And to speed up the process of marking the middles of these beams, again, I'm going to be using the block that we just used on the vertical beams. I have also marked with a bit of tape my drill bit to indicate how deep I need to go. With all the holes pre-drilled, now it's time for a bit of sanding. Not too much though, I'm just using grit 80 just to remove any splinters. You don't need to go any further than that. If you don't have an electric sander like I do, then just use a bit of sandpaper and do it by hand. And now it's time to add the sealer. I'm going to add 2 coats with light sanding in between coats. And now it's time to install the hardware. I'm going for the hex drive head nut. When it comes to the vertical pieces, the long pieces, I'm only going to be installing the hardware in the middle one. The outer beams, I'm going to leave them without any hardware. They don't need that. Unless later on I want to expand it, then I can add it to the sides and do it like so. But for this occasion, I only need the middle beam to have the hardware. And the horizontal beams, well, they need to have that on both ends. For the middle vertical piece, we're actually going to need a threaded rod, okay, to go through our hardware. Now you can just buy threaded rod and cut it to the right sizes. You can get some bolts and cut off the ends, or you can actually buy shorter pieces of threaded rod and use that. Up to you how you're going to do that. Now it's time to assemble everything. Okay, we're going to start with the middle. I threaded the threaded rods already through, so I'm just adding the horizontal pieces, and I'm going to carry on like this with the remaining ones. Now it's time to attach the sides, and we're just going to use bolts like this to keep it in place. Just make sure to use a washer as well. So the bolt, washer, and we can drive in our connection. And there you go, guys, the frame is finished. It's as simple as that, and you can add another part to it. Instead of the bolt at the back, just use the threaded rod and add another wing. Put few of these and you sort it. Or actually next season, for example, if you're only gonna need something that's not so wide, about 1 meter wide, then just remove that wing and you're golden, you're already sorted. However, our plants need to grab onto something so they can actually climb up. Now there's few options you can use. For example, this garden net, like this one. I've got a green one. Or you can just use a garden string and create a pattern on this trellis, and that's what I'm going to be using. I'm going to create a cross pattern with this garden string, so I'm going to do that right now. And there you go, the net is ready. Now, as you can see, the build itself is really quite simple and cost effective as well, and it will last for years to come. Now you may ask the question, how on earth are you going to put that in your garden? How are you going to attach it? It's just one wall. Okay, there's a few ways you can do that. If you've got raised beds, you can actually screw it to the sides of your raised bed. However, if you don't have raised beds and you just got flat soil, or for example like me, you actually grow different types of vegetables in the raised beds, and well, sometimes you just have to move around your trellises, then I've got a perfect solution. It's just a anchor like this. All right, it just goes into the soil and it is super stable. I had this for the last 2 seasons on a different trellis and it just works absolutely perfectly. So I've got 3 of them for the 3 legs. So I'm actually going to move everything outside of my garage, because if I do install them here, I won't be able to take it out. And there you go, guys, nice simple but sturdy trellis. And as I said, you can actually add additional wings to it, extend it, or actually make it shorter depending on your needs. However, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop me that like button down below, and if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe to it. Also, I do have a second channel all about gardening and cooking. Check it out, Casual Gardening and Cooking. I do have a link to it down below in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. But for today, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.